a lot, checking things out. She does get frightened about some things, loud noises, but typically, because she's a great horn, nothing really scares her because she knows how powerful she is, right? Betty is quite a big girl too. She came from the Yukon, so up north, and she has the same story as Snoopy. She was hit by a car too. She was actually hit by a big truck though, and she was lucky. She survived. Many of the birds, like I said, don't survive being hit by cars. Some are lucky and they do, and then some, like Snoopy and Betty, do survive. But her injury is a lot more, well, probably just as severe as Snoopy. Her brain still works, her feet still work. It was her right wing. Her right wing got broken in too many places, and we couldn't fix it, and the vet couldn't fix it. So what they had to do is they had to take it off at the elbow. Because what was happening was Betty couldn't bring her wing up and tuck it in. It was dragging on the ground, and she was stepping on it and cutting it. And she was getting so upset, and she was hurting herself so much trying to just move around that she ended up just staying in a corner in her cage, and she wouldn't want to move. So we made the decision to take off part of her wing, and she's much happier now. She can move around her cage and do what she would like to do. And what she's doing now is she's just a little warm, so she's panting. So I'm going to let you see her wing, and this is her wing now. She only has the one wing. Okay? So let me oh, it's okay. It's a little crazy sometimes because she only has one wing. It's a little harder, right? You only have one wing. So let's try one more time. There we go. See? Just one wing. So she's much happier now. She has a big cage with perches that let her climb up and everything. And she's a lot happier now, right? And she's very lucky because it was a big truck that hit her too. So she's very lucky to be alive. And again, she was hit by a car again because of litter. Just like Snoopy, right? Even people up in the Yukon threw their garbage on the ground. But she's lucky and she's alive, and now she goes around to schools and teaches people how important it is not to litter, right?
Can you get her head to spin around?
I will in just a minute, yeah. So you can see how Betty is looking around. Yeah, you're getting a nice close shot there. But I'd be careful going that close, hon, because you're still in range where she can lunge at you, and I'd hate for her to damage your phone or your camera there. But Betty here, what I wanted to talk to you about was her eyes and her ears and how she uses them to find her food. So you can see her how she's looking around the room, checking everyone out. Yeah. Because do you notice how Snoopy and Betty, how they move their eyeballs around at all? Have you noticed?
No, they can't.
No, they can't move their eyeballs around. We can. Like if we wanted to look around the room without moving our head, we can, right? We can look up, we can look down, we can look side to side. But if Betty wanted to look around the room, she has to turn her head where she wants to look because she can only see what's in front of her. And that's why owls move around their head so much. Yeah, not too close, sweetheart. Yeah, she might get scared. And see, that's why she's checking things around above her, behind her, and things like that. And she's also listening for it, too. And her eyesight's pretty good. I'm not sure if you guys ever notice, like if you're looking at something like the TV, and you know, everything behind it's kind of blurry and things like that. Have you ever noticed that? You only can focus on one thing at a time, and that's clear. It doesn't matter where she's looking. Everything's in focus. She can see everything, right? She has a really good eyesight, right? But again, it's not her eyes that she mainly relies on for hunting. It's her ears. Do you guys think these are ears?
No.
No, the ears are on the side of the head. Those are just feather tufts. Sometimes it gives you away what her mood is in. Sometimes, you know, they'll be up, sometimes they'll be down. So sometimes they'll give you a hint if they're mad or happy or just relaxed. But her ears are just on the side of the head, behind that facial disc. And that's what she'll mainly use to hunt for her food. Now, do you think her ears are even like ours, though?
No.
No. That's right. Yeah, people are pointing to it right. One ear is higher, and the other one is a little bit lower. So what that helps with is to make her have her even better hearing. So let's say if this room was pitch dark, and you know how you guys have the shelves behind your classroom there? Let's say there was a mouse on the first shelf, and then there's a mouse on the second shelf, right? Now if we were listening to it with our even ears, all we can tell is that that's where the mice are. They're in that direction. We can only tell what direction the sound is coming from. But what owls can do is they can tell what direction it is, but since their ears are lopsided, she can say, one mouse is on top, like on the first shelf, and the other mouse is on the second shelf. So she knows exactly where the food is. She can tell how high and how low it is. So let's say like a mouse was standing on top of a rock and one that was on the ground next to it. She can tell the height of exactly where the mouse is. So that's what makes her an excellent hunter. And does anyone know how good her hearing is? How good is the hearing?
She can hear mouse's heartbeat.
That's right. You guys knew that?
Mouse's what?
Yeah. Owls, the way they hunt is, yeah, of course, if the mouse is making sound and stuff, it will listen for the scratching or the squeaking. But what they'll do is if, let's say, it's winter time and the mice are hiding underneath the snow, because that's how mice and rats move around in winter. They run around underneath the snow. They'll actually listen for the pitter-patter of the feet. But if that mouse is completely still, it will listen for the heartbeats. But the mouse does have to be nearby, like the size of this classroom. As long as it's nearby, then it can hear the heartbeat of the mouse. Do you want to know whose heartbeat Betty's listening to right now? Oh, all of your guys's. Yeah. Yeah, that too. And so that's what makes her a really good hunter. And that's why, too, we ask people to be very quiet when the birds are in the room, because if she can hear your heartbeat, what do you think your voices sound like if they get really loud? Like a freight train, like rah, right? And that's the trick again. If you want to see owls, there's tons of owls, especially here in Hatzik and stuff like that in a mission. You just remember, have to look with your eyes, listen with your ears, and not make a lot of noise, because if you're really loud, they're just going to take off. They're not going to want to stick around, right? And there's great horned owls around here, right? And you guys know how they're able to turn their head around because of all the bones in their neck. We were already mentioning that. Do they have more or less bones than us?
More.
They have more. That's
Don't
right.
we have
People,
14?
we have 7 bones, and yet owls have 14. But some of the bigger owls, like Betty here, can have up to 20 bones, and eagles can have up to 20. So the more bones they have in their neck, the more they can move their head around. And I'm going to turn her around, and let's see if she decides to turn her head backwards to look at you guys. So you might just have to be a little patient and wait. Yeah, you see the feathers there, sweetie? She's like, oh, feathers. Oh, yeah.
Those for me?
There we go. Oh, we saw Mindy come in. That's okay. See, Mindy was very quiet too, and she still turned her head over. She heard her footsteps, right? You're going to turn your head around and look at the class. Does any of the teachers in the back have any keys or anything that jingles or anything on them maybe? There we go. There, yeah, go for it. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Steady. Keep on going. There we go. There. You see that? But did you notice what she did though? Owls can't do this with their heads. A lot of people think they can do that. There she goes. But they can't because they would twist their neck and they can break their neck. But what she did is she went this way and now she's gone this way. She goes like this. So have you guys learned about degrees yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, when you guys learn about degrees, like a full circle is 360 degrees, okay? Owls can do 270, so almost a full circle. So there's just a little tiny space just right behind their head that they can't completely turn to, but it's enough, as you guys could see, that they can turn their head pretty much all the way backwards. And it's all to make sure that you guys aren't sneaking up behind her. See, there she goes again. And those keys weren't going to come and attack her. Yeah. Pretty cool, hey?
Can't their net go turn this way to right here?
Yeah, so it turns kind of backwards to here, and then it goes around, and it goes the other way to about here.
Why does Betty almost look like she's a toy? Because when she blinks, it's not like a real blink, and then when she turns, it's almost like a...
It's just what she's doing, I guess. Yeah, it's just what she's doing, I
It
guess.
actually looks like a toy.
Yeah, but they'll blink one eye at a time, too. Yeah, Snoopy sometimes does that one eye at a time. It's just a matter of what they want to do.
Yeah, it's
I was just going to ask that, too. So we're talking about earlier about guessing how much they weigh. So remember that their bones are hollow. And also note that these owls have anywhere from 8 to 10,000 feathers on their body. So if you were to take away all her feathers here, there'd be hardly anything to her. So since you mentioned it, what's your first guess at how much she weighs? How much do you think? No, not 5 pounds, less than that. More than 2 pounds.
3 pounds?
She's about 3, maybe 3.5 pounds.
3, 4.
Bald eagles, you know how big bald eagles are. They only weigh anywhere from maybe 9 to 12 pounds. That's it, right? Want to know how much Snoopy weighs? He's like half a pound, not even, like a third of a pound. He's nothing, right? Because they have to be light to be able to fly. If they're too heavy, they won't be able to get up in the air, right? And that's why they're nice and light. Yeah. Yeah, I can get her to flap again. If you guys want to see her wing again. Go. There. Good girl, Betty. And all I'm doing is rolling my arm. I'm not telling her anything. I'm just rolling my arm a little bit.
How much wingspan can a great horned owl?
So it's hard to tell the wingspan because Betty only has one wing. But if you guys have a meter stick, a meter ruler in your classroom, that's 100 centimeters. And a great horned owl's wingspan is 110, so it's just a little bit bigger than that stick. So about 10 centimeters more than that stick. So yeah. Oh, that. No. Did Betty go to the bathroom? No, that's Snoopy's little pellet. I just left it there. So a couple more questions. Are you stretching or do you have a question this time? So that's what I was saying. What Betty's doing is they sometimes get warm, especially when they've been inside all day because all their feathers keep them super warm. So what they do is when they're hot, they pant, just like dogs do. So all you're seeing is the air coming in and out of her mouth and throat, and it's just really close to the skin. So it's just kind of moving the throat there a little bit. And that's actually what they do when they're looking for a mate, for a boyfriend or girlfriend. They'll actually hoot and they'll puff that part out, especially the boys. So the boys can be like, look at my big white spot. And it looks like almost like a bow tie, so it's a way to attract a female to be like, hi, how do I look? Yeah?
I saw it of like something because it was at night.
Yeah?
And it was like, I thought it was an owl or something because it was really dark and
Yeah.
I could see like bright eyes.
Could have been.
And I heard like a hoot.
Yeah, it's probably an owl.
And I thought it was an owl.
Yeah. So yeah, the great horned owls are around here. So if you think you saw an owl with big yellow eyes, it'd be a great horned owl. But if you think you saw one that was smaller with dark eyes, that would be a barred owl. Those are the two most common around here. And then of course, if you're more near the farmlands, kind of more towards Harrison and that, you'd see barn owls. Yeah. So I've just took a peek at the time, and I do unfortunately have to put Betty away. I would love to have her out longer, but I do have to put her away. But if you guys want to say goodbye to Betty, she's still actually learning what this means. So if you can all do that, you're actually helping her teach something to her. And eventually, the more she sees that, the more she'll understand what that means. And that means that she's going to be leaving the classroom now. So again, keep your eyes open for owls and great horned owls, just like Betty. You never know when you'll see one. And I'll be right back, guys, to say my goodbyes before you guys head out for your recess, okay? And for those that haven't touched the feathers yet, make sure to pass it to those that haven't gotten a chance to touch it if there's any. All right. I'll be right back. Owls don't have any teeth. That's why they have their teeth.
Done.